listeners.
Welcome to episode 3 Dirty Kimbassa podcast. I'm Ben.
I'm Tony.
And here we are, three episodes in, and we've established with one listener at least, which is Tony's mum.
That's very good. Yeah. More feedback this time from my daughter.
Oh, go on.
What did she say? She said it's just two old blokes thinking they're funny, but to clarify, you're not even funny. Well, there we go.
She's on to us.
Yeah. Oh well. Well, they all say, don't they? You know, employ a teenager while they still know everything.
They definitely know everything. Yeah, they do.
Aye.
Just turn that off. Let's not have it. Better off than nothing. Yeah. We had a little email complaint.
A complaint. Again.
I'm going to paraphrase.
Phrase, do it.
Not really any email in saying that were good. I enjoyed that. So I'm going to paraphrase because they ramble on a bit. But to sum it up, they said 99% of people are not going to like this podcast. It's shit. So I take that to mean 1% of people will. So we've now 70 million fans overnight.
Who was it? Someone you know?
Shall I give their email address out?
Yeah. And their address and their telephone number.
That's it, yeah. So I take that to mean 1% of world population. We've now 70 million fans. And I'm alright with that.
I don't know. Fan would be a strong word, wouldn't it? You know,
they're certainly not listeners, are they?
Yeah. You know, I don't care. We're just amusing ourselves, really.
Yeah, we've had a laugh doing it, haven't we? Yeah. We've had a laugh. If you don't like it, don't listen.
And if it's shit, it's shit.
Yeah. There's a million podcasts in the world, and you're daft enough to pick one you don't like, then...
and listen to it all, obviously.
Yeah.
Did they listen to it all?
Did they listen to more than one episode?
Did they listen to it all the way through?
Shut door on your way out.
Yeah, we're not bothered.
Well,
I've had a bit of it. It's been a bit of a strange, but they broke up for school the other week, didn't they, the kids? You know, it's becoming a bit of a recurring thing, isn't it? Things that trigger me, things that piss Tony off. And it's almost like...
This could be a feature. A Trigger Tony feature.
Might be.
We could make it...
It might end up being that.
A nice little jingle with somebody going, Trigger Tony.
I'll say it, and I'm probably going to alienate another section of potential listeners.
Careful,
here.
we've only 1% left.
Fucking teachers. If a teacher can make something simple more complicated, they will. They are the most useless, impractical people going. And I don't get me wrong, I know there's going to be exceptions. You occasionally meet one that's switched on. And their job's to educate the kids, and they do it very well. It's not the education I'm talking about. It's the little things that teachers do that they don't probably even realise they're doing it. And it's because they've gone to school, had a month off, gone to university, had a month off, done a teacher training course, or whatever they call it, the PGCC, and then gone straight into a school. They've never been out of academia. They've always been in schools, colleges, universities. They've never been in real world, where you've had to get up at ridiculous o'clock in the morning while it's still dark. And it's little things, like, for example, I went to pick my youngest daughter up. It was the last day at school before breaking up for the holiday. And she's particularly dozy, is my young one. She's away with fairies. You know, there's not wrong with her. She's just where she is. She's
Happy
just,
in her own world.
Yeah, in her own little world. So she's always dead last out of entire school. You know, 5 minutes later, she'll come out staring into space, and then I'll have to send her back to get something she's forgotten. You know, like clothing.
Mine go back for the lunch boxes every day without fail.
How can you lose a shoe? Right, but surely teachers notice things like this. Oh, that kid's only got one shoe on, you know. But no. So it's last day. Every class has gone. It's lashing it down. Proper torrential bouncing it down. I've been stood there 15 minutes in playground, and I'm soaked to the skin, and I'm frozen. And then all other classes gradually disappear, and all other parents leave. And there's just me and a couple of other unfortunates that happen to be with children in this class. And they come out dead last. And of course Emily's back at lot. But teachers decided that on this particular day, they're going to measure in foot lengths the distance from the classroom entrance to the gate. So they're like shuffling along like handicapped kids, one foot in front of the other, all in a big queue. I gestured to Squem, come on, run, run. And she's like mouthing at me, I can't. You know, like she won't do out naughty for teachers. And I'm thinking, bugger teacher, get run. And I'm saying, and another 15 minutes later, we're all still in playground, wet through, it's raining. You know, and it just makes me think, what do they think is acceptable and what's not? She comes home, she's got all this homework. So, I don't know what it is. You know, it's a long time since I were at school. You know, I'm looking at this, I don't know how to do it. Emily, do you know how to do it? No, I don't know, we haven't done this in class. Right, so your teacher not only has decided to set you some work, she's decided that I'm not busy enough. Because I'm going to have to sit down with her at some point and do this. You know, it's like setting work for me. I do find that the teachers that don't have kids are a bit better with it. Sorry. I'll do that bit again.
Do that bit again. We'll cut that bit out.
I do find that the teachers that have children are a little bit easier when it comes to this kind of thing. But the young, dynamic, want to change the world teachers are the ones that are setting ridiculous amount of homework, doing stupid things like this. They're the ones that will make something difficult when it doesn't have to be.
Do you remember Mr.
Poor lad, yes I do.
Now think Big Bang Theory. Have you watched that? Sheldon Collins?
Yeah.
Mr.
Possibly one of the smartest blokes you'd ever meet.
Yeah, really intelligent fella. Not an ounce of common sense, couldn't control a class.
And I've got a story about him, and you might have to change his name or edit it out now because.
So we've got a story that's definitely not about him.
So once, do you remember when we were at school, down by bottom end at school at science classrooms, you know, with big long benches at Bunsen burners we used to set fire to and get told off, and I used to sit next to a lass in science who we won't name because she might be listening. But
is she in that 1%?
She might be because I know I've shared link with her. But we used to get a bit touchy feely under desk, me and this lass. And anyway, it's by the by. That's just me reminiscing with nostalgia about things that don't happen to me anymore. There used to be those skips. Do you remember them big yellow skips?
Yeah.
Because what kitchens down that way or something,
yeah.
or entrance to them and things like that. And one day I went into school early. I think I'd have been a fifth former at the time. And I wanted to go in early because I'd had to leave some artwork out because paint were wet. And I didn't want, because all these classrooms were also somebody's form room, I didn't want some little arseholes coming in, throwing me artwork all over the classroom, because that's what would have happened.
Yeah.
You know, so I had to make sure I were in school early to get it all squared away, you know. So I went in, and as I'm passing these skips, I hear this coming from one at skips, and I think, there's somebody in there. So I went over and lifted it up, and that particular teacher is in there, covered in rubbish, garbage, covered in his own sick, you know, still half cut from night before. Now, I know they say about bullying in schools being a problem, but it seemed that even teachers bullied each other, because obviously what's happened is they've been out on lash, didn't know what to do with him, so they've chucked him in this bloody skip. So I pulled him out. I pulled him out of the skip, and you remember me, I were a scrawny, skinny teenager. It took an awful lot of doing, and I mean, he would try to climb and slip it. I got him out, and we went to staff room and fed him coffee. Found him a semi-clean shirt that belonged to somebody else, and probably saved his job. You know. And the thing is, you know, I mean, this is a thing. I mean, I don't think kids would be like this now, but at the time, I didn't tell a soul, because it'd have been around school pretty quick.
Interestingly, I did hear a rumour.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So whether one of the teachers spoke, who spoke,
yeah.
who spoke.
Well,
you know.
Teachers obviously were ones that put him there.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I did hear a rumour, and you do hear these rumours, and you tend to not take them too seriously. I mean, I heard about one English teachers that prostituted herself through university. But when you think back to it, you think, well, there were no university fees back there anyway, so...
She probably did it for fun.
Yeah.
Which one were it? Asking for a friend. Some of them weren't much older than us, were they, when you think about it, on the scale of things. It's funny because I actually met that teacher several years later.
Uptown.
In Huddersfield. And he told me he worked for one of the local councils now. Didn't teach anymore.
He couldn't teach. He was, he knew his subject, but he was a shocking teacher, wasn't he?
I think one of the problems was we were mental, weren't we? We you used to go to a bus in those days, didn't you? You used to get on a school bus, and somebody would be ding, 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 and the bus driver would be stopping and threatening to throw everybody off, and we'd all be like, woo! I don't know what it's like now.
Also, do you remember, contrast, there's that one teacher that would happen to be walking down corridor and hearing us being a set of rowdy bastards in his class. That one teacher could walk in the room and silence fell.
With a raised eyebrow. Yeah. That's because he knew we were going to batter you.
Truman.
Yeah. he used to fling me around by me sideburns.
He was a nasty bastard.
Yeah. I remember him, I remember him being right big, right tall. But it's your perception.
Tall to a teenager, yeah.
Yeah, tall to a child, and quite a big presence in that environment.
Yeah.
About 5 years ago, I bumped into him in Huddersfield. He came up to about my chest. He's not a big bloke at all. But I remember him, I remember him towering above me. But I wonder how much of that was my perception of the man.
Yeah.
He
was certainly taller than me when he battered me around the head.
Yeah.
Bastard.
Yeah. So, have you got any more complaints? I won't say reviews. We don't seem to get... Do we get any positive feedback?
I feel people I work with, off the top of my memory here, but I laughed several times. That was my friend in America, that was it. So it's travelled across the ocean. There we go. That's his best review so far. I laughed several times.
Oh, Christ.
And one of the lads I work with said, I enjoyed that, but I wouldn't pay for it.
Well, it's free anyway.
It's free, so he's in.
That's good.
He's in that 1%.
Yeah. Well, my mate Mark Griffin, I'll name him. Hey up, Mark. I know you'll be listening because you're mental. Mark's a proper... he's an old school biker, is Mark. Bit of a naughty boy back in the 70s and 80s. Going back, he's a London boy. And going back to the biker wars in London of the 70s and 80s, he was quite heavily involved in that. They used to get up to some right shenanigans. So if we're entertaining him, we might be doing something right.
Football Tourettes, I call it.
I'm looking at you now blankly.
These people that can't help but talk about football. Even when you've no interest in football whatsoever, you don't know what they're talking about.
I hate football. It's a bloody girls' game.
I don't even give it that much credit. I don't hate football. I nothing football, But you remember a story I told you about a young lad who went off to hooker and was a bit early. Yeah, same lad, walking into work together. It's like 25 years ago. His genuine words from his mouth. Did you watch Town v City last night?
Which town and which city?
Fuck off!
What? Huddersfield Town. Bradford City? I don't know.
He was in genuine shock that I didn't like football when I told him.
He probably thought you were one of those. One of those.
He was genuinely... He said to me, so what do you do then?
As though there's nothing else to do.
Yeah. His life was football, and that was it. That was his sad little life.
Tell me, son, have you ever kissed a girl?
Clearly not. That's how he ended up where he ended up, isn't it?
Bloody hell, yeah.
So Town v City, I've never, to this day, I don't know who we're playing, and I still couldn't care less.
Well, as you know, in the army, I was in a Scottish regiment. One thing I learned early on to avoid was talking about football. With the porridge wogs.
What the fuck's a porridge wog?
Scot.
Okay.
With the Scots, it's not just football. You've got your imaginary friends involved, haven't you? It's that Catholic Protestant thing, that Celtic Rangers, Hibernian, they're a Catholic side, all this and other, so there's little bits of cultural tension and religious tension under there too. And the best thing to do with the Scottish football is not talk about it at all. And then when I retired, they dine you out in the mess. I had to make a speech.
Oh, nightmare.
So I made a speech and I said, for the last 20 years, I've avoided talking about football so as not to upset you. So as this is last time, I'm going to be here, I'm going to talk about Scottish football. And what I don't understand is how you all get so upset over it, because Scottish football is absolutely shite. I've seen better school teams, and I got jeered and booed and hissed at, but there we go. I mean, it is, isn't it? I mean, football's dull enough, but Scottish football,
it's equally dull in my book. I've no idea. Just no, not interested.
Yeah.
Dumb animals chasing balls.
There's only about 5 teams, none of whom are any good.
I suppose at least you can say you came 5th in league.
Yeah, true.
Here's a little story my dad told me about his mate Spud Gun.
What a name. Well, there were a character.
No, not his mate called Spud Gun.
Oh.
His mate
Spud Gun. Oh, I was going to say.
But yeah, there was a character on a film called Spud Gun.
No, it was Bottom, wasn't it? It was that Rick Mail thing.
That might have been.
Yeah.
So my dad went to his mate's garage. He get tinkering with motorbikes as he did, and there's a big bit of damage, shall we say, at the wall. And he says, "What bloody hell happened there?" He said, "Oh, my Spud Gun." What do you mean, Spud Gun? Look at this. And he pulls out this piece of scaffolding pole, and that basically his barrel. He's capped it off, put in 2 little hand valves where you connect oxygen and acetylene, and he's tapped a spark plug in and wired that up. So you ram a spud in end, bit of oxygen, bit of acetylene.
Oh, is that what you are? Yeah.
Yeah. And then you fire coil. And this spud had come out with so much force that it had actually damaged the wall.
Wow.
Across from his garage.
That's impressive.
That's a proper Spud Gun.
Yeah, not that we want to give anybody ideas, but that's how a certain terrorist organisation used to make mortars.
Is it?
To launch over army barrack walls, yeah. Well, very, very similar principle, yeah. Mount them in back of a pickup truck, reverse up, fire, drive away.
I've got a scaffolding pole.
Well, you're having ideas now. This is going to be a thing. Tony, I challenge you to build a mortar that can fire further.
Build a Spud Gun. So don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't make a Spud Gun.
Don't try this at home, as they say.
Yeah.
But yeah, Spud Gun, eh?
Spud Gun.
I bought kids some Spud Guns a couple of years ago. I went to an auto jumble looking for parts for an old motorbike I was doing up, and didn't find what I were after. I were after some tinware for a BSA, but they weren't on there. But I did find a couple of old Spud Guns. So I took them home, bought them and took them home. Kids were totally unimpressed with them. But I annoyed them for weeks. I had a catapult at school that were taken off me. It was called a Black Widow.
Oh, I remember that.
Do you remember that?
Sold them at Jewson's.
That's where I didn't buy it. I bought it from Jack Lee's Sport. So my memory may play me false.
Jack Lee's.
It's not there anymore, is it?
No.
That was shopping out, in Halifax, wasn't it?
That was at top of George Square, on
That's
left.
right, yeah. I think I bought it from there. I might be wrong.
For fishing.
That's what, yeah. There we go. But no, it was taken off me at school, and I never got it back. Some teacher, I laughed at that night. Now, contraband.
Bastard.
Yeah.
It's funny how they take stuff off you at school and never give it back.
Never get it back.
I don't think that must happen these days. Surely.
I don't know. The thing is, do you know what though? I mean, my kids, some of the sass and back chat I get from my kids, I'd have never talked to my father like that, because I would have been leathered.
You'd have woken up next
he'd
week.
have taken slipper to me backside. Times are different. But in comparison, I know for a fact my kids at school are as good as gold. Far better behaved than I ever was.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, because teachers used to hit us.
Yeah.
They used to give us detentions after school. I think worst thing they do to them now is they put them in isolation. You have to go and study in isolation. There's like an isolation room, separate booths. You can't sit with your friends. And I'm like, I didn't really like people at school that much anyway. That'd be all right with that, They are much better behaved at school. Honestly, the way they talk to me, my kids talk to me like I'm an idiot. I'm like, all the time. It's just not on really. Might put them up for adoption.
We decided we didn't want kids after the second one.
I'll tell you a little story anyway. We were getting friends to email us in and their stories and things. And what I said I sent our pilot podcast round to several people I know who I thought might like it. I said, if you've got funny stories, send them as funny stories.
Funny.
Well, this one's coming on, and it's not funny. But I'm going to tell you anyway, because it's one of them that left me thinking, Jesus, it's quite disturbing. So, this friend of mine, Lee, he comes from Leeds.
Is it okay to name him?
Yeah, he's all right. He's all right.
He's not the guilty party.
No, he's not the guilty party. In fact, to be honest, he's a victim of quite a terrible and predatory crime. And one of the things he tells me now, Lee, I know Lee from the army, and Lee was in the Coldstream Guards, prestigious regiment.
It means nothing to me.
Tall lads, busbies.
Right, yeah.
If you want to tell how old one is, you cut the top off his head and count the rings.
Yeah.
They're not the brightest bunch. They polish their buttons a lot. Stand around Queen. Those ones. And
he'll appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, there you go. If he had out about him, smart and daring do, he wouldn't have been a guardsman. So of course they're in London a lot. Now a lad from Leeds, young, 18 years old at the time, finds himself in London. And of course, what do squaddies do on an evening? They drink. And one weekend...
Squaddies drink?
Yeah. Hard to believe, I know. So, the lad's out with his mates. And they're in London. It's expensive. Go to a nightclub, it's even more expensive. He gets talking to a very, very attractive blonde girl. Slightly older than him. Very pretty. You can imagine, yeah. I'll leave it to the imagination. All legs and little black dress, and he thinks his luck's in, and his luck indeed is in, because she invites him back to her place. So comes to nightclub kicking out time. They've had a snog on dance floor, and she takes him home to her place. Obviously he can't go to his place because he's at the barracks somewhere, so that's not a go. He doesn't have his own place. He's sharing a room and things. So they go back to her place. They sit down on couch, and she gives him a kiss, and she says, listen, I'm just going to go freshen up. I'll be back shortly. Anyway, a lot of time elapses. She's not come back. He's been sat there about 45 minutes, maybe, waits a bit longer.
That's a bloody long time to wait, yeah.
He falls asleep.
Him or her?
He falls asleep.
Right, okay.
He wakes up the following morning. He's in his underpants. His clothes have been removed. The only thing he's got on are his Union Jack boxer shorts, which were apparently Lee's lucky boxer shorts, for the ones he wore when he was going out on the pull. I don't know if you have such. I've never had a lucky pair of boxer shorts.
I'm not superstitious.
I'm not a superstitious or sentimental man myself, so lucky boxer shorts have never been my thing.
You just got boxer shorts right way round.
I think I've had an unlucky motorbike, but that's another story. So he's sat there and he's thinking, this is a bit odd. His clothes are nowhere to be seen. He looks around the room. He can't find his trousers. Can't find his shoes. His wallet's gone. Everything's missing. All his clothes are missing. He's there on the couch, scratching his head. Then the door opens, and two old men. It says old men. From the descriptions, I would say they were probably our age.
20-year-old.
But of course,
he
he was 18.
Right, yeah.
He's in this room, and these old men sit down next to him. They give him a cup of tea, and he asks where this young lady's gone. Oh, she'll be back later. She'll be back later to see you. Don't worry. We've just come in because first we've got to check that you're clean. And they start touching him like that. So, reading between the lines, the young lady, maybe she's paid by these two or something to bring young men back to these two.
Go fishing for
predatory, whatever they wanted to do with him. We won't know because it didn't happen. He were quite free with his fists in those days.
Right.
And he punched them and tried to run out of the room. There was a bit of a scuffle. He managed to get away and escape and managed to fight his way out of the house.
In his
undercrackers. He finds himself, no idea where he is, running down the middle of the street in a London council estate. After about 15 minutes, he's picked up by the police. Understandably so. And I think he was a bit grateful to be so. He's getting a few smirks from the female constable. There's a man and a woman pick him up and they take him back to the station. The problem is, in his panic, he's unable to identify the house he's fled from.
Yeah.
So he explains what kind of happened, and I wonder how many young lads got lured into that trap over the years, you know.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, on that occasion, they escaped justice. Again, but for the grace of the gods, that could be any one of us, couldn't it? You know, it's a scary and chilling reminder that there are some not very nice people out there.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Like
so
you said, it's not a funny story.
It's not a funny story at all, and it was the last thing I was expecting, but that's what he's emailed in. And so there we go. A cautionary tale, young men. Don't go thinking with your winkles.
Well, we've all heard of these rumours of going on holiday abroad in cheap countries and waking up without a liver in a bath of ice and things like that, haven't we?
I tell you what,
them are true.
after this last couple of weeks, I don't think anybody would want my liver. I got a barrel of beer in for the Christmas period because I've constructed the bar in my backyard, and the reason I've done that is so that my mates can kind of join me, pull themselves a beer, because we
off to 2 meters,
and then stay in garden while I talk to them from kitchen window, and we can have a companionable banter. Because I've got friends who are on their own and things, and I thought it just a thing for them to do. So we've been doing that a little bit, respecting the lockdown rules and things like that, and not mixing too much. But we've done that. But Christmas morning, I had a rum in my coffee at 9 a.m. It's something I wouldn't normally do, and I think it was just because everything felt so strange, and I just thought, whatever, just did it. And I've actually realised that I've probably drank more this week than I have in the last 4 years. Really? I've really put some away this last couple of weeks, so I'm going to curb it now.
I've not had much really. I've had a bit of whiskey. In the house with your family, it's there's not that much doing, is there?
Yeah. That's true.
There was a bit of a discussion I heard going on at work about how shit Cockney rhyming slang is. 20 years ago, a friend that I'd started talking to on the internet visited from Brazil, and she was really tickled by Cockney rhyming slang. And I just went, it's fucking shite. It's absolute shite. So, I'll tell you what I did, Tony, is I wrote a few down to see if you could guess.
All right, okay.
What they relate to.
Well, I do know a few Cockneys.
Cockneys.
I do know a few Cockneys, and you know what? They're nice lads, but
Southern softies.
They're never gonna have the charisma of a northern man, are they?
So Barry McGuigan.
Wigan.
I'll put it in a sentence for you, see if it helps. He came in giving it the Barry McGuigan. I'll do it in a Cockney accent, but yeah.
Giving it the big un.
Big un. There we go. Right, that's possibly the only one you're gonna get.
Is it?
Right. Yeah. Battle of Waterloo.
Battle of Waterloo. I've no idea.
It's a food group. A food. A dish.
A Vindaloo.
It's a good guess.
Go on then.
No, it's not. Stew. How shit is that?
I'm wondering, are they primary school teachers? Because they're making things far more difficult than they need to be.
Maybe. Beans on toast.
Roast.
No.
Ghost.
No.
Most.
No.
Host.
No.
Fuck knows.
Evening Post.
Really?
Really. Beggar boy's ass.
This has come from them two old buggers in that house in... Lass.
Nah.
Grass.
Nah.
I haven't got a clue.
Brass. Now isn't brass slang for money anyway?
I thought brass were Cockney rhyming slang for something else anyway.
Well, to me, brass is money.
Yeah.
So they've now got slang for slang.
Yeah. Well, brass is money north, isn't it?
Yeah.
And jock is food.
Yes.
My granddad used it. Go and get your jock. And your dinner money with your jock brass.
Jock brass, yeah.
Maybe we're just as weird as... Maybe we are.
Right, I've two left. See if you can get these.
Well then.
Billy Piper.
Billy Piper? Sniper?
You can tell you're ex-military.
I don't know.
Windscreen wiper.
Oh, that's
What?
disappointing.
What? What's wrong with people? And this is possibly worst one. Bobble hat and scarf.
I don't think that even rhymes with anything.
If you made a sentence out of these things, it'd take you an hour to say.
Yeah, but they
7 or 8
don't,
words.
do they? Because what they do is they're not going up the apples and pears. They're off up the apples. So they have their rhyming slang, which is complex enough for an outsider, and then they shorten it and abbreviate it.
Yeah.
So you ain't got a clue what they're talking about.
So bobble hat and scarf is a laugh. What?
Don't even rhyme. Laugh. It's not a laugh.
Well, that's the old southern speech impediment there, isn't it?
Oh, I'm just going to sit in the bath. No, you're not. You're having a bath.
Yeah.
There isn't an R in it, is there? I actually think, though, if you were to study linguistics, that Northerners speak a closer dialect to, say, maybe Middle or Old English than perhaps the Southerners do with their regional accents. And I think it's because we've got those old Norse elements in as well. Go back to the 8th century, and most of the north of England was under the Danegeld, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there's well, I'll tell you the one. I mean, the word Lego. We're getting all intellectual now, aren't we? That's not like
we might teach. We'll have to cut this.
The
out.
word Lego, Danish. Play well, to play, leg, okay? Do you remember when we were kids, particularly around Yorkshire and the northeast, there was the word lake, you know, so, you know, meaning to play, you know, a slang word,
Laking
to play.
out.
Hey up, is Ben laking out? In Barnsley it were lecking. Now, interestingly, the Norwegian Vikings came round the north of Scotland to the northeast of England and the north of Ireland. The ones that came Yorkshire way were Danes, and yet we've retained that lake, which is more Norwegian. Obviously, it's all descended from Old Norse, but we've retained that lake rather than leg, if you're with me. So, but we've got linguistic differences that they maybe don't have in the south of England, and I think that Old English and Old Norse were very similar languages. They could probably talk to each other.
Now you've mentioned there linguistic differences. And I have a real pet hate with Americans that say Legos.
Oh,
you mentioned. Oh.
Yeah, I'm right into Lego. Kids have got loads.
My
of it.
kids love Technic Lego. Yeah.
No, not Technic Lego. We've got the Lego farm animals and Lego. We're obviously not rocket scientists in the making.
My little engineers in the making.
I actually treated myself. Well, I treated my daughters. To the Lone Ranger stagecoach, which I had a lot of fun building. But the problem with Lego is, you get this Lego kit. It's ace. They're brilliant. Comes with the instructions. I keep all the instructions in a box file.
Yeah.
Right. But once they've played with it and it's gone in box, you're never going to build it again. We must have half a ton of Lego. It's probably worth something like £30,000 sat there in a big plastic box.
We've very much kept our Technic models built.
Yeah.
But they've been the bigger ones. So my lad's bedroom has got possibly 15 big models in there, all built up. And it looks good. Yeah.
See, but your kids are smart. My little one, knuckle dragger. It's like
Parenting 101, people.
Like some kind of spider monkey that's been shaved badly. No, I don't like the word Legos.
It's Lego bricks.
Actually, to be honest, I like Americans. I do like Americans. There's other things, and something. One of my American friends commented on something on my Facebook the other day. Didn't say all right. It was aight.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'm like, well, the thing is, he's not even black. Can we say that?
Yeah, because he's not black. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I think there's a bit of thing with him. He's younger than me, but there's a bit of a thing where they want to be gangsters. A lot of these young American lads. That probably young British lads the same. It's just a different kind of gangster, isn't it? Like you're gonna pop a cap in my ass because I've booted you out of my shop. What are you gonna pop a cap in my ass with? Why are you talking like that? Where are you from? Oh, Huddersfield. Right, okay. Because I thought people from Huddersfield talk like me, not like that. I don't know.
Another one for you. Happy holidays.
That don't bother me.
Dear, I fucking hate that. Oh,
it's
instead of Christmas, go happy holiday. No, bleeding Christmas holiday.
See,
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, or Happy Christmas, maybe. Happy holidays don't bother me.
Oh, really?
No, it doesn't.
That really grates on me, does it?
Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of the things that do annoy me. I'm surprised you've come up with something that annoys you and don't annoy me, to be honest.
You think you're more easily annoyed?
Oh, yeah. I'm getting worse. I am so grumpy. Unbelievable. I walk around my house. I'll say this. I walk around my house, shutting doors, switching lights off, and grumbling. I've turned into my father.
See, I give my lad a 10-minute lecture on how electricity's made and where it comes from for leaving a light on the other day. Yeah. Bearing in this thing's probably a 3-watt energy-saving bulb.
Yeah. I mean, we all know I'm tight. I don't even know why I complain about the kids leaving lights on. Because I'm that tight, I've wired house to a lamppost. But it just doesn't... It's waste. It's waste. I don't like waste.
All this language stuff, though, it stems from people fluffing things up to stuff they're not.
What?
And this is what I read the other day.
Okay.
Right? It was basically a bike bottle. Let's sum it up. It was a bike bottle.
A what?
You know, for your drinking bottle on your
sits in a little rack.
Pedally bike. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Right, okay.
It's a hydration device for your moisture management.
You're joking. People who talk like that need putting down. They can't be happy.
Oh, do you know?
A hydration device for your
moisture management.
What cunts? Fucking bellends. I can't do it. It's like what we were talking about before, wasn't it? You know, like management buzz speak and stuff like that. You know, the
speak half an hour and say
Imagineer. Yeah, go away. Yeah. One of the things I don't like with the Americans is that, you know, when you're online,
we can't get off Americans today now.
Again, do you know what? I love Americans. There's a lot I like about America. I'm not so keen on the guns, but the business ethic and customer service, they're great. They're usually pretty friendly people. I think they're great. But then you get, like, they correct your spelling. I've had this online where, hang on a minute, the language we speak is English, and you're telling me I've put an unnecessary U in the word colour, because they're colour. Colour, yeah. The language is English. I'm English. Come on, I'm right. You know, don't correct my English, you damned colonial.
Colonials, yes.
Yeah.
Bless them. They have a go at our language, don't they?
Yeah, they try. Yeah.
Now, I'm going to try something here, and it might work.
You're fumbling in your pocket.
At least it's my breast pocket.
Right.
What do you see there, Tony?
I see a box of playing cards.
Yeah. So this might work on a podcast, it might not.
Right.
Right.
So what are you doing?
We're doing a magic trick.
Magic tricks.
I'm going to do a magic trick.
Oh, hey,
they're all,
do you know?
They're all cards.
Do you know
right.
what?
Pick one.
Any card.
Pick a card.
Do you want me to show it to you afterwards, or not?
Just any card.
Right, I've got a card.
You remember it.
Right, I can remember it.
You don't need to show it to me afterwards because I'm going to show it to you.
Okay. How am I going to communicate?
Don't fucking lie at end saying it's a different card.
How am I going to communicate with our listeners as to what card it is?
Oh, I didn't think this through, did I? Put it back in deck.
All right.
You'll just have to have a big reveal at end. Yeah, that's your card.
I'll just have to act really amazed. What?
Really? Yeah. So, I'm shuffling, right? For the sake of the audio, I'm shuffling, and Tony can vouch.
Yeah, he's shuffling.
That's proper shuffling.
There's no fiddling going on here.
Fiddling.
No.
No. I'll shuffle a bit more.
Fuck me, it's like dynamo.
I can't listen. to it.
I'm amazed already at your
I haven't dropped any.
Dexterity. Come on, Maverick.
Can't remember this trick. Is that your card that I dropped?
I don't know, let's have a look.
I bet it's not.
No, it's not.
No. Is that your card?
Yes, that is my card. Very good. I don't know how you did it.
Did that work on a podcast?
It did. I don't think. I mean, I was only mildly entertained. Well, I can't see our listeners being impressed. Our listener.
Yeah. Ask him how it went.
Aye. Ah, well. So
I thought I'd just try that.
So, when are you getting expelled from the magic circle? Is that still a thing?
I haven't revealed it. It is actually. Little laugh we had the other day at my wife's expense.
Oh, poor lass.
Yeah. I mentioned before, she's from Thailand, and something she'd never experienced: crumpets. The heaven that is crumpets.
Really?
Pound of butter, treacle on. That's golden syrup to you southern softies. Beautiful.
Do other countries have crumpets, or is it just us?
I don't know.
Any Americans? Can you tell us if you have crumpets or not?
dirtykinbasser@gmail.com. Let us know if other countries have crumpets.
I don't know.
In Thailand, they don't. So I'd said to her, get some crumpets. Now, she was down in Nottingham doing her master's degree, and I was up here. So she bought these crumpets, and asked a couple of days later, oh, did you get some crumpets? She says, yeah, I'm not really into them. Really?
Did she not cook them?
She not cooked them. Can you think of anything that changes more than a crumpet?
Yeah, to be honest, I've never actually even bit a cold crumpet, because why would you?
No. Ugh. You know. So she's chewing on this dough, essentially, isn't it?
You see, it's funny as well, going back to what we were talking about earlier, like the rhyming slang again. In this area, crumpet is a bready thing that you toast.
Yeah.
It's also an attractive young lass.
Yeah, yeah.
See,
so my bit of crumpet...
Yeah. Didn't cook a crumpet.
Didn't cook a crumpet. Then she tried it properly with pound of butter, pound of treacle.
Yep.
You know,
yeah.
Days worth of calories per one.
I just like them.
Loves it.
Just butter for me. Bit of nice Jersey butter.
Yeah, yeah, I can get that, but I prefer with treacle. But yeah, that tickled me when she'd chowed on road dough, basically, yeah.
That's good.
And she loved your Roadrunner.
My Roadrunner, yeah, well...
You'll have to tell that.
I was young, I mean, a lot of fun. I mean, I don't know if the people listening realise, but my day job now, I'm a tattoo artist. This goes back to the days when I first was interested in getting a tattoo of my own. I think I was 14 I think I was about 14 years old.
It was pretty young for a tattoo.
Yeah, I was underage, and I went to the local tattooist. There used to be one in West Vale, and he wouldn't tattoo me. He knew I was underage. He's a very professional man. So I went across the Pennines on the bus.
What is it? What's the age officially?
You've got to be 18.
And was it 18 then as well?
He was 18 then as well,
okay.
yeah. You've got to be 18.
So you were plenty underage.
So I was pretty underage. I think the fact that I went down to West Vale still in my school uniform probably gave it away. But one Saturday, I got on a bus and I went across the Pennines and I ended up in Oldham. And I went to a tattoo artist there, down over that way. And it turned out to be, he went quite famous, did this tattooist. He tattooed David Beckham. He ended up with his own TV show. But back in there, he couldn't carve up those young lads fast enough, get them through the door before football were on. He was a bit of a pillock, really. And anyway, I went and I got a tattoo back then. Being a scrawny young teenager, I thought, I quite fancy a panther. They were the tattoo to have back then if you wanted to look tough. But as I was sat in this plastic chair in this waiting area, I was looking around and I realised that the prices, I didn't realise how expensive tattoos were, even back then.
Is this what made you think I want to be a tattooist then? So I can extort money out of
I
people?
might have planted the idea in my head. I'm looking around the room. I realise I haven't got enough money for Panther. I think Panther was something like £40 and I had 20.
So what were you thinking, like a panther sort of stalking like down your
No,
arm
like
or something?
kind of like gripping my arm with its claws digging in and streaks of like scratches coming from its claws as though it's holding on to me.
Okay.
Like, a bit of an old school, old fashioned tattoo.
Right.
But I didn't. Anyway, so before we knew it, it was my turn. And I'm sat down in that chair. He says, right, what do you want? And just out of the corner of my eye, there were a thing on it. I said, I'll have that one. So I came out of there, not with a panther, but I came out of there with Roadrunner. I've still got it, and it's not a good tattoo. It's badly done. It's patchy and crap, but I've still got it. That was my introduction into being a man. And it's funny because I don't think you knew I had a tattoo when we were at school.
No, I don't recall it.
Obviously, I had to be careful. My parents didn't know I had a tattoo. I had to keep it well hidden because I didn't want...
What age did they find out?
They found out when I was 17.
Right.
I had a car accident and they had to cut my shirt off.
Yeah, yeah.
And by then I had a few tattoos. And so I came back to consciousness after quite a serious car accident.
To two stern faces.
To two very glowering parents looking at me. And my little mum piping up. So, how long have we had tattoos then?
It's like she's in a room.
It is. Whenever I describe my mum, I always go a bit Monty Python.
That is very Monty Python, isn't it? Yeah.
But yeah, he's been a very naughty boy. In some ways, I was kind of lucky and kind of not, because I was that badly hurt from this car accident that she
couldn't fully bollock you.
Yeah, that's it. So it meant that the tattoo bollocking I kind of got off lightly.
Yeah.
Because they were a bit worried about me. So there you go.
Nice. Stuff you do when you're kids. Like, kids these days will never appreciate the magic of finding a twat mag in a bush.
That's true. When we were on scout camp,
You know,
pages stuck together.
Porn is freely available everywhere these days.
Yeah, it is. You just...
Which is why my kids have their computers in my living room, so I can keep an eye on them.
Can you still get jizz mags then?
Do you know, I've been a newsagent.
Because
there's no newsagents, so where would you get them?
Because like I said, I mean, you only have to... You look online and it's free.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean...
So they've been robbed of that little bit of magic.
Yeah, I mean, you can go on whichever websites you want, Ben. You can go on www.bigboysinboots.com. You can go on www.dirtymidgets.com. Whatever takes your fancy. And you know what? In this shed, you won't be judged for it.
What happens in the shed stays in the shed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I remember you used to pick up a jizz mag. You lifted it up and the pages would miraculously flop open at a particularly...
an unsticky page.
I used to like the old 80s ones with the wet look perms and the wet look perms. Top and bottom wet look perms.
Colour matched the cuff.
That's right, and they'd usually be ironing with a cigarette in their mouth. You know? I think my dad had a stack, to be honest.
Didn't all dads?
I don't know.
Because they didn't have internet. Let's face it.
Yeah.
You made me think of this story when you told your grim story of your man.
Yeah, poor lad. Aye.
Punching his assailants. A lad that I used to go to gym with called Gary. Not a right tall fella, but as wide as he was tall, you know, big lad. And his car got pinched, he had an XR3i.
Ooh, that was posh back then, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well nickable.
Yeah.
You know. And it got nicked. And Gary wasn't happy, obviously. And he bunged a few quid in right directions and found out who'd taken it. Because he knew police had never sought it out.
No, but certain recovery companies sometimes give you a copy at slip. I've got my own back on a car thief once or twice myself that way.
Well, Gary got a nice bit of revenge, and I liked how he did it. He found out who it was, a few of his big gym buddies, and went and collected this fella, and they got a big Hessian sack. Put him in it, tied top up, and kicked this sack multiple times. Till it started to leak, you know. And they left him on the wall of a bridge over a river. So this lad couldn't move so much. They left him there, crying for his mum, stinking a piss. Yeah. I thought that's a nice bit of justice, that, isn't it, you know?
I heard about one, I can't name any names here. An unfortunate burglar burgled wrong house.
Mm.
Powers that be found out who it was. He ended up in back of a old knackered transit van, naked, with a tractor tyre in back with him. Sorry, a tractor wheel in back at van with him. And this van was dragged around fields for 40 minutes or so. He had a lot of broken bones.
Yeah, that'd be heavy with a tractor wheel.
As it slid around him back and he's trying to hang on to it. And
bit of justice.
I'm not against that kind of thing. To be honest, somebody burgled my house, I won't call police.
Community justice.
Well, you know, there we go. Anyway, we're getting dark again.
Let's
lighten it up again.
Have we got something light?
No, not really.
No.
Not really, no.
Am I allowed to have another complaint?
Have we got another complaint?
No, me complaining.
Why, what are you complaining about now?
Bloody video calls. Is it an age thing? I hate video calls.
They take you by surprise, don't they?
I don't
mind them.
Nobody needs to show me their face to tell me what they're going to tell me.
Do you remember in initial stages of lockdown, I made a point of video calling friends that I'd not talked to for a long time because distance keeps us apart and things, and it was quite nice to just sit there, have a coffee with them, like virtually if you with me, you know. And I quite liked it, but I can see disadvantages. Like I said, yeah, if it's just for the sake, I mean, that was a friendly catch-up. If it's like messaging for, like, I'll be with you in 10 minutes, I won't video call you. You know, it'd be pointless.
Some people video call every call. And then they walk around with... Mime this on an audio cat. Yeah. They walk around with the phone held... It's almost as if the camera's going to be looking up their nose, let's be fair, to try and hear microphone.
Yeah.
Hit speaker and use microphone simultaneously. So basically what you're doing is you're giving a video call of your nostrils.
Yeah.
You know, what's wrong with people?
To be honest, my youngest daughter has a telephone now, and she's often video calling her friends, sometimes while they game on the computers, and Xboxes and things, whatever they have. One of the things that I found, because they're quite young, they don't have any sort of... They're innocent, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right. What I don't want is, and this is it, so she's on video call to her friends all the time, and then she'll walk around house. Other day, I were in bath, soaking my own bones, and Emily decides she's on video call and she's going to come in and use toilet. So I'm trying to sort of like Emily, because it's a video call. I said, Emily, you're on a video. Everybody can see. I'm sat here with no clothes on. It's not appropriate. Take it out. You know. And she's like, oh, you shouldn't get it. And I find that quite inconvenient.
They don't care, do they?
Kids don't have a great lot of money. The kids.
Yeah.
So I thought, do you know what? There's a book I really fancy. Back in November, I thought, fuck it. I'm going to treat myself to this book. So I bought this book and I wrapped it up as a Christmas present to myself. But I put on it from the kids. And I told the kids, right, kids, this is what you've got me for Christmas, look. All right, okay, Dad, right, there you go. Christmas morning came, we're under the tree, pick up this present. What's this? I've totally forgotten what it is, you know. So it was actually a genuine surprise.
I think it's like getting parcels off Hermes, isn't it? By the time it comes, you forget it's
That's
coming.
it, yeah.
You know.
Or Wish.com.
When it finally gets there, you go, oh, look, a present.
Wish.com is actually very, very disturbing because it comes up with some rather weird devices as to what I might be, suggestions as to what I might be interested in. The weirdest one for me today, forget the like borderline sexual anime dolls and things like that, but it was a dildo that implanted. It was like an alien tentacle, and it implanted an alien egg. And it came with some like lubricating green slime.
Who the hell's thought this up?
So you could like use the dildo and implant eggs into an orifice. And I'm just looking at, and to be honest, I'm going to say I probably didn't help myself because
you ordered one.
I didn't order one, but I clicked on the link to have a closer look because I was curious as to exactly what it did and how it did it.
It's in your cookies forever now, isn't it?
And I think once you've done that, they kind of think, we've got one here. Let's see if
weird shit and see what it triggers.
Let's see if he wants a one-sided pair of man's underpants that only goes around his little ball sack cup and goes around one side of his thigh but not the other. I must have a wire in it or something. I don't know.
Other end's a butt plug, maybe.
That'd
keep it in place.
It's only if I clench. Oh yeah, but no. I think, to be honest, it's a bit disturbing, some of the things that come up with it. Like,
who thinks these things up?
I think they're called
weirdos.
Perverts. Perverts think them up, Ben. Perverts. And don't get me wrong, I'm no saint, but I do draw the line at alien tentacle dildos.
Alien tentacle dildos. What?
Yeah, that's just weird, isn't it?
That could be the title of this podcast.
I mean, can you imagine? You've got to go to accident and emergency because you can't get one of these eggs out.
Maybe they just hatch.
I don't know.
They're like, them...
Maybe they dissolve.
My kids had these eggs that you put in water and a dinosaur or something grows out of this egg. Maybe they made that same thing.
Maybe they dissolve with the green slime into a runny green viscous substance that you then have to shit out into the mouth funnel that you also got off Wish.com.
If it came from Wish, it'd be more of a thimble than a mouth funnel, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
because they've got a good reputation for sending stuff 10% at size than it.
I think that tends to be clothes, doesn't it? You don't realise that you're actually buying
I get that feeling with all clothes these days.
Elf clothes.
You know.
Yeah. Is it Chinese, Wish.com? Chinese, I think it's Chinese.
The world's factory.
Yeah. So everything. I mean, let's face it. They make everything, don't they? They make.
Yeah, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. They're going to make it. If you come up with a good idea, they are going to copy it. I bet there's a couple of middle-aged Chinese fellas in a shed ripping off our podcast.
Do you reckon there can't be any money in that? Let's face it, we'll never make any money out of this, so they're not going to do it, are they? They're only doing it for profit. We're doing it for a laugh.
Yeah, but they'll probably do it better than us.
Ah, true.
They're probably funnier.
They might actually be funny, yeah, and have 2 followers.
Yeah.
We've got social media set up, haven't we?
Have we?
We've got Facebook
page,
we've got a Twitter page, and Instagram. They're the big 3.
I'm quite impressed with your technical know-how getting us up online and things like that, because I wouldn't have got there, me. I'd have been scratching my head. Giving up was a bad job. I'd have probably swore a lot.
I don't ever swear. Anchor, that's where I put it on.
Anchor.
A company called Anchor, and they've put it onto several other platforms. And they've simplified my work.
What's our email address again?
dirtykinbassa@gmail.com.
Okay, so email in your funny stories.
Or 6 stories,
well,
really.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I found that one earlier a little bit disturbing me.
It's worrying, isn't it? It could have gone a lot worse. And it's
Yeah.
probably gone a lot worse for other people in
Yeah,
West,
I've no doubt about it. And I noticed this is a recurring theme with what's coming out of our mouths these days. But I reckon over years, down there, 1 or 2 lads have got bummed.
I bet they have.
Yeah.
Because
if you got bummed, would you tell anybody?
If you got bummed, email in to dirtykimbass.
I think if I were a young lad and I got bummed, I probably wouldn't have told anybody. Bottled it up till I had serious problems.
They're brazen, aren't they, to do it? You know what I mean? They've got it planned.
Yeah.
They've got it planned.
Yeah.
You've got a, what would you call her? The bait?
A honey trap.
A honey trap.
A honey trap.
Yeah, that makes it sound.
And they're obviously paying her, aren't they? Cause
yeah, and then she's gone to freshen up.
But the thing is, I mean, what I find strange is like they're targeting heterosexual boys.
Maybe 1 in 10 of them goes, oh, all right then, and they don't get the faces caved in.
Oh.
I bet they thought twice on next one though.
Well, possibly. I hope so. I mean, I think they deserve everything they get. Yeah.
Don't matter who it's with, does it? If it's non-consensual.
Exactly.
You know?
No means no. Right, wrap up then.
Let's wrap up.
Because
it's getting cold in here.
it is now we've turned the heater off.
That's it. Thanks for listening, Mum.
We'll probably record another one.
Have we got a funny we can end on?
Probably not, because we're not that funny apparently.
No.
According to my daughter.
She's on to us. She is. Yeah, let's wind up there.
Yeah.
We'll take our 70 million listeners.
See you next week. Or rather, you won't see us next week.
No.
It's an audio thing.
It's an audio, yeah. DJs do say that, don't they?
Yeah.
I've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
And I'll see you next week. No, you won't.
Yeah.
We may hear you.
I mean, to be honest, this is you don't know what these DJs look like sometimes, unless they've been on top of the pops.
Some people do have a face for radio.
Yeah. Ken Bruce. He's not.
That's a man.
He's not. Like Jabba the Hutt on crack.
You're trying to trigger him into a response to get us some likes.
Get some listeners. Could rip off Popmaster. We'll call it Bopmaster.
I think at this stage we'll try and do a podcast every 2 weeks. We'll try and keep a regular thing.
No promises.
No promises. No, we are working men, and we've got lives to get on.
And
with.
of course, it depends what material we get sent.
Yeah, we might be running out of stories. I want to hear everybody else's stories.
Yeah.
Because that makes it as entertaining for us.
We want more funny stories though, not so much like Lee's story. That was a bit dark. Yeah.
Poor Lee.
Yeah, poor Lee. He seems alright, he doesn't seem fazed by it, but then again, guardsman.
If he was phased enough by it, he wouldn't have told you it.
Yeah.
dirtykimbass@gmail.com. Send us in a story or 3. We'll try and make another episode that's keeps Tony's mum happy.
We haven't sworn as much this time. I swallow it, didn't I? Oh God, I'm in so much trouble. Anthony. It's your name.
Thanks for listening. Bye.